Let's face it, you are awesome. We know this for a lot of reasons, but mainly because you want to make teaching videos for your courses. And if you're going to do that, you might as well do it right. So to facilitate your awesomeness, we assembled this brief look at recommended practices in the creation of teaching and learning videos. Now, if you're wondering whether it really makes a difference, take a look at this groundbreaking study, which examined the satisfaction and performance of students who viewed control videos against that of students who viewed the same content created according to best practices. Now, first, we're going to take a look at a control subject. And I want you to notice is the obvious lack of enthusiasm as this particular student watches a video that was created with no regard for best practices. Now, compare that to the experimental subject. In this case, the excitement is palpable, maybe even a little overzealous. Nevertheless, it's the kind of enthusiasm you want to see. And here are some principles to help you get there. First, keep your lessons short. If the lesson has to be long, break it into digestible chunks. So as these data right here from non-academic viewing show us, the attention span of your average viewer is extremely finite. Short and punchy is the surefire way to a student's heart. We actually affectionately refer to this as the Peter Jackson principle, or PJP, because even though we love the director, he seems physically and emotionally incapable of making a movie that lasts less than 7 hours. As a general rule, I would try to limit your videos to 8 minutes or less. Now that's a lot longer than what we see in these audience attention span data, but those data are from general internet viewing where people may or may not care about what they're watching. We think you'll have more leeway to create slightly longer videos when students are watching this for a course and need to learn something. Nevertheless, I would not push the envelope. Second, try to start with a bang. Get the students interested. Even if you're talking about the most boring subject on earth, try to come up with a way to pique their interest. So, for example, courtesy of TED Ed. Plankton literally is the most boring subject on earth. But here's an attempt to make it interesting.
How did I get here? Well, it's a stranger story than you might think. I came from a world of drifters, a place few humans have ever seen.
Now, I can only speak for myself, but there are probably 3 or 4 different things in the world that I care about less than plankton. Nevertheless, I see the beginning of this video, and I want to know what's going on. What is this place where no human has ventured? What is this fish's story? Why is he sitting there on that ice? They've already piqued my interest. I want to watch more. Similarly, another way you can draw students in is to just get to the point. This doesn't have to be a Hollywood movie where you have some kind of twist at the end and everyone figures out what's going on 2 hours into it. You want them to have a sense of what they're there for right at the outset. What are they getting out of this video? What are they watching it for? Third, be conversational. Here's a case in point, again, courtesy of TED Ed.
You probably already know that everything is made up of little tiny things called atoms. You might even know that each atom is made up of even smaller particles called protons, neutrons, and electrons. And you've probably heard that atoms are small. But I'll bet you haven't ever thought about how small atoms really are. Well, the answer is that they are really, really, really small.
Now, this sounds just like a guy who's excited to be telling you about something in everyday language. And notice how he personalizes the conversation by directly addressing the viewer. You probably already know that an atom is small. You probably also know something else. Now, if anything, he might be a little bit too polished. If you start over after every single stutter or broken word, you will literally spend days recording your videos. A little mistake here or there is not a problem, and the personal conversational approach really does pay dividends. Students will work harder to understand the material, and they'll perform significantly better when you take a personal tone that addresses them directly. Now, that being said, do not be afraid to write a script. For many people, it'd actually be faster and more effective than trying to wing it. Now, fourth, as you already know, include some kind of assessment. These little quizzes promote critical thinking, they keep students engaged, and if the questions help the students understand the material or are actually included in a graded quiz, it will encourage them to actually watch the videos. Fifth, don't be afraid to include graphics, for example, pictures, in addition to the text. Over and over again, studies have shown that students perform better when the presentation includes relevant pictures. Irrelevant pictures, bad. Relevant pictures, good. And finally, look for ways to engage students through the structure of your videos. For example, you can try to establish a routine format that begins with an interesting problem or riddle. Why are people actually less likely to receive help when there are more people around to offer it? Then navigates to a solution. As more people are around, each one of them feels less personally responsible to help. And then give students a chance to apply what they have learned. How can you change the situation to improve the likelihood of help being offered? And that's it. You are now ready to take your awesomeness to new heights.